Okay, hi everyone. So my name is Pawan. I am DSA trainer at Suntech, and here with me, Kevin is here. He recently cracked Google Software Engineering intern role. So he will be joining Google in April 2025. So I would like Kevin to introduce himself a bit.
Yeah, hi, hello everyone. My name is Kianjoy Thomas. As sponsor said, I will be joining Google as SW intern in 2025. My main
Mhm.
interests are football and playing s- all types of sports. I'm into competitive programming and machine learning.
Okay, Kevin, tell us about some educational background of yours.
In terms of education backgrounds, I did my CBSE till 10th in Bahrain, and then I
Mm-hmm.
moved to India in 2020. Then I did CBSE again. I prepared for JEE in my 11th and 12th,
Okay.
and then through the state exam, I got MVSR, Engineering
Mm-hmm.
College in Hyderabad, and then
Mm-hmm.
I've been doing my BTech in IT Information Technology since then for 2 years.
Okay.
Now I'm in my second year.
Hmm. So, how was your journey? How you prepared for this particular opportunity? Being in Google is obviously like cracking Google internship is not a small thing. Obviously, thousands of students apply and hardly in hundreds who are going to be selected for that particular role. So tell us from the scratch, when you don't know anything about DSA, how you started with data structures and algorithms, or before that, even like how you learned the coding thing, how coding was introduced to you.
Uh, I always found a passion in computers. So before my first semester started, also I had taken a course in I which was called CS50 by Harvard. It gave me a
Mm-hmm.
good brief introduction on the basics of CS, and the teacher was really good, and it made me fall in love with programming. And then
Mm-hmm.
throughout my first sem, I was just continuously doing C language. I just wanted to be really good at it. And then after
Okay.
my first sem ended, our placement coordinator called Suntech,
Mm-hmm.
they held a DSA training at their campus. So I was one of the 60 people who got selected for that. And
Mm-hmm.
then I first learned about DSA from there. We
Mm-hmm.
did the basic data structures and stacks, queue, all of that till graphs, which was
Mm-hmm.
a really good thing. And it set the competitive nature in us 60 people, which also helped
Mm.
in us getting better and better. So we didn't stay stagnant in one place. And then I tried my best to keep that momentum going on till my fourth semester. And
Mm-hmm.
then it just along with that I also made the weekly thing that 5 days a week I'll do dev, last 2 days I'll
Mm-hmm.
do DSA, or 5 days DSA, last 2 days dev. Like that every week I used to keep studying.
Okay. So basically, in this particular journey, being consistent is like the difficult task. So in second year itself, you already have decided how you have to give your week, like 5 days to DSA, 2 days to like development, or 5 days to development, 2 days to DSA. That is a great thing. So during the low phase, obviously when somebody starts DSA, I personally do data structures and algorithm, take part in contest and all. So in starting phase, it's a bit difficult. During that particular phase, how you kept yourself calm and also motivated to stay consistent.
In starting phase, yeah, it was like I still remember my first question. It was
Mm-hmm.
reversing the linked list, and
Yeah.
then I think it almost took 5 hours to complete it.
Okay.
And then
Yeah.
I don't know,
Mhm.
it was just the way it started. So just that it took 5 hours to complete one question. I was just really happy to complete one question at that time. So then I didn't
Okay.
keep a blockage in my mind that, oh, people are outside doing 10 questions, I only did one question. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
care about the other people. I was just happy solving questions in my own phase. It was right now I'm seeing people who solve DSA for, just cracking the placements, whatever, their own personal goals. But for me, DSA was something like a game. It was like the whatever data structure I was given, it was like those are my tools, and the questions were the
Mm.
levels I had to solve. So it was, I just saw DSA as a way to who's going to best who's going to utilize these weapons the best way to solve the questions.
Okay, that's a nice, interesting perspective of looking towards data success and algorithms. And as you mentioned, like for as an engineering student, when you enter the college, what you get from seniors is get good with DSA, then only you will be able to
Yeah,
get placed. So by like listening to your perspective, how you think about DSA, that is really interesting. I mean, I'm listening to this for the very first time, and it's a nice perspective. Like when you start thinking DSA or whatever data structures and algorithms are there as a tool, and when some problem is given to you, you have to apply, use your tools for finding the solution. It really helps. I mean, it changed the whole idea, and yeah, I think that's interesting. Okay.
it's like it's
So,
not, you're not
mhm.
doing it just for solving it. You're doing it for for having fun.
So during this particular phase, so as you mentioned, like how frequently you are solving problems. If you can give a rough number, like daily, how much time you are devoting to DSA, or was it weekly thing? As you mentioned, 2 days you are restricted for development, or sometimes 5 days and 2 days for DSA. So it was not daily, or was it daily or weekly thing?
It depends really in what time you're asking. If it's
Mm-hmm.
like May during the first time I started DSA, I was like
Mm-hmm.
all in DSA. Like I'm a pretty competitive person since I used to play a lot
Mm-hmm.
of sports. So then I always wanted that highest position in terms of question solved.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't advise this to other people, but yeah, during May summer holidays, I wake up, I used to do DSA until I sleep, just
Okay.
because I like to do it. Yeah, and then I was
Mhm.
at least solving 10 to 12 questions almost every day during the first month. Then when college
Hmm.
started, it used to decrease a bit more. I used to
Yeah.
stay up
Mhm.
late for the solving questions. So then,
Hmm.
yeah, a good number, the advice would be to do at least 1 or 2 questions. One every single day, 1 or 2 questions,
Mhm.
that would be very good. But since I didn't do it every single day, I used to do it 5 days a week. I had to at least do 3 days, 3 questions a day or 4 questions a day.
Okay.
It
To
also
cope up
depends.
that 7 day thing. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I think I will share your lead code profile, and I think you made some 2,500 plus submission in this year, I guess.
Yeah,
So
3,000 almost.
yeah, so that's a lot. Like in 365 days, like you are making more than 8 to 9 submissions daily. So that's a lot. I mean, being consistent for that period of time, I mean, at the end, consistency shows the result. And
That's
if
true.
you'll have the interest, which you mentioned, you used to wake up during your vacation, and from morning to evening, you were all into DSA. So it all
Yeah,
comes from the interest. Like if it is not interesting, if it is not making exciting, like you excite, so I still remember we used to give like Code Chef long challenge. I don't know you have competed in that or not. So earlier Code Chef used to conduct contest which has 10 days. You get 10 days for solving a set of problems, like 10 to 12 problems were there.
okay.
And what I used to do is, in initial phase, I used to devote my 10 days whenever I get free time to those. I still remember I was able to solve like half, partial problem, partial one problem out of 12 problems. It was like 10 out of 1200 I scored, the score that I got. But yeah, I was satisfied with this, like the effort that I put for solving it. So yeah, I also feel like okay, one point that I can get from here is it should be interesting to you. You should start loving it what you're doing. Like solving problem, it shouldn't be like okay, just for the sake of numbers. It should more like you want to learn something from it. So then it will be more exciting. And even like nowadays, people are using different ways, not like right ways, to get some ranking in contests. So you
Yeah,
used to, how was rating for you? Like, was it very important for you, or not much? You used to focus more on solving problems, and after the contest, like try to understand the problems which you are unable to solve and see how it can be solved? Hmm.
It was important. I can't say that when I saw a low rating, I was like, yeah, it's fine, no problem. But
Okay.
it's not always the best feeling that you're the lowest rated in your entire team. So
Yeah.
yeah, it mattered a lot, but I also made sure to take it in a learning perspective. Like I didn't
Mm-hmm.
see it that, oh, I'm doing low questions, he did more questions. No, I used to, like, I had a friend named Lalit. He used to always get high ranks. So then
Mm-hmm.
I didn't I didn't use that as motivation. I went up to him. I asked him, "Did you solve more questions, or how did you solve it?" Like then his idea was that he solves it faster than solving more
Mm-hmm.
questions. Then I try to implement that. Then I go to my other friends, then ask them how they got it. Then I use all of
Okay.
their techniques. Then I take tips from other people who are better rated than me, and then I
Mm-hmm.
used to try to implement themselves myself.
Okay, so that was the key which you utilize all their tips and went ahead of them.
Yeah,
That's nice.
like
I
if
mean, you
yeah,
have
if I
seen this movie.
solved only like two questions out of four,
Mm-hmm.
I would make sure that the same day I would solve at least four questions. The like previous
Okay.
contest, four
Mm-hmm.
of the third question number three of all lead code contests.
Okay.
Now I can't
Okay.
solve question number four.
Mhm.
So in this previous contest, so I solved five question number fours from previous weekly contests.
Okay, that's a nice, like, interesting way. Okay, I mean, you must. There is contest of solving what it is
Yeah,
called. Like once the contest is over, you try to solve the ones
solving the same
which you are unable to solve. Here, you are also considering not this one, but also previous ones.
previous one.
That's nice. And I think the benefit of this is like when you're trying to solve those problems which are unsolved, you know about some different algorithms, sometimes techniques also
Yes,
for solving that same problem. So your learning curve is increasing basically.
exponentially.
Hmm. Okay, and how frequently you are giving contests and all?
Yeah, I made sure there are times where I felt like, oh, I don't feel like giving a contest today, but I made sure to give at least in three platforms, which is LeetCode, CodeChef, and
Mm-hmm.
CodeForces. So every
Mm-hmm.
Wednesday, I used to make sure that every Wednesday and Sunday, LeetCode and CodeChef had to be done, no matter
Mm-hmm.
what. And then CodeForces, it's depends on when they're giving the contest. So yeah, if I have time, I'll give it that too.
Okay. And when you are learning DSA, so what strategy you used to follow? You used to solve problems like topic wise, or you randomly chose, or it was based on the session. Suppose you used to have DSA sessions, so you used to solve problems related to that topics, or how? What was your practice strategy?
Yeah, that also explains my 2,500 submissions.
Mm-hmm.
My tactic was actually that first they'll teach us, example, they teach us linked list. I'll make
Mm-hmm.
sure to solve at least 15 or the entire blind 75 of linked list.
Mm-hmm.
Then after I'm done with that, I'll go
Mm-hmm.
back to the questions I solved in stack, try to
Mm-hmm.
solve them again, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'll search for questions which can be solved using stack and linked list. So
Okay.
that way I
Mm-hmm.
didn't forget my previous topics, and I'm also absolving the current topic which I'm not that great at.
Hmm. Okay, and okay, do you used to do a revision? Here you mentioned about current and previous. What about
Yes,
previous? Suppose arrays is the very first topic which you covered. There are many good algorithms like sliding window is there. Many techniques like, sorry, algorithms like cadence and technique like sliding window are there,
touch flag
and
algorithm.
other things. So how you used to cope up with them? Like revise? You have any revision schedule?
My revision tactic was that every week at the end,
Mm-hmm.
what I used to do was the questions which I found hard, or the
Mm-hmm.
questions which I'm very proud of the solution. Those
Mm-hmm.
solutions, I make a solution. I post my solution in LeetCode. So that is
Oh.
my revision set basically. That is
Hmm.
my most important questions. So
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
for example, like touch flag algorithm, I used to always find it difficult to remember. So I
Mm-hmm.
used to write the solution and I used to go back to those solutions at the end of the week, and then I'll try to do that question again to
Hmm.
reinstill it in my memory.
Okay, that's nice. And do you also like mark the problems which you feel okay are good. Like sometimes when you solve a problem, it feels like okay, this is a good problem, so I should keep this. Like I personally have a set where which I maintain. Like whenever I solve any good problem, I store that in a set, so while revising it will help me like cover good topics and all. So do you also mark those problems?
Yeah, I also have a the bookmark section, right? It's favorite section in
Mm-hmm.
LeetCode. Yeah, I
Hmm.
have a redo or good question bookmark, or also I
Okay.
have a to do bookmark, or I
Mm-hmm.
also have to do but later. Means it's the algorithm which I already know, so I wouldn't want to waste
Mm-hmm.
much time on it. So I just keep it in the bookmark to do, but for later.
Okay, so if I say, okay, your practice strategy was whatever topic is currently going on, you used to solve problems from Blind 75 and other good problems which you were able to find. Apart from that, you also practice problems from previous topic which was taught in the session. And along with that, you had a weekly revision kind of thing where you basically go through the problems which you found are very good and for which you have written the solutions and all. And
Yes,
okay, do you feel like writing solution actually helps and also benefits you?
in a book.
No, not in a book. Like when you solve a problem, lead code have this section, no? Post your solution thing.
Yes,
So
yes.
do you used to do the same, like post your solution or explain your solution?
Yeah. I found that if you explain your solution like you're teaching someone else, you're
Mm-hmm.
almost as if you're learning yourself. So I found that helpful in the way that I was trying to explain other people, which
Mm-hmm.
also made me feel like, oh, if I see the question again, if I just read
Mm-hmm.
the question again and I'm talking to someone and explaining the question, I might remember myself explaining the answer to someone.
Yeah, and I would like to add here, like if I used to do something like this, sometimes some new approach is also going to strike. Okay, this particular part can be done in this way. So it usually happens like when I give contest, there you focus on time, like okay, how quickly I can answer and all. So whatever thought comes to your mind, you don't think about optimizing much. If it is like getting accepted, like giving the constraints, so you work on that. But when you try to write down the solution for the contest, so I personally was able to find different ways for solving the same problem, so that was good for me. Okay, and apart from this, how you prepared for other things like CS fundamentals are there, which are equally important. Like in other companies and all, they ask like there are multiple aptitude verbal rounds and also CS fundamental MCQs you can find there. So how you prepared for that particular part?
It was also part of my courses which I used to do. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, I was into machine learning and AI. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
currently I'm also. So, I used to do this data science course. So, using that data science course, MySQL was included in that. So
Hmm.
when I found MySQL, I was like, fine, I'll try this. And then also kept me thinking that what if this is not there? What if that is there? So then I used to always keep on asking questions to ChatGPT, and it keeps giving answers. Then I'll keep asking that questions to that on top of that question, and then it used to
Mm-hmm.
keep that cycle used to repeat. So like that DBM has got over. Then in
Mm-hmm.
college, I knew those topics, CS fundamentals, which are important for like OS. So OS, I
Mm-hmm.
used to always sit in the front bench, and whichever
Okay,
topic I needed to know more, I always
that's the right
ask
strategy.
ChatGPT.
Hmm.
During the lecture, I used to always talk with ChatGPT and learn more, not so that I don't
Okay.
just stick to how much the college needs us to learn. And now I'm
So,
focusing
yes.
on
Mm-hmm.
system.
Yeah, please finish.
And now, yeah, the same thing, same approach I would like to follow for system design or anything
Mm-hmm.
else.
Okay. So, are you a front bencher or a back bencher?
I'm a backbencher
You just
because
mentioned you used to sit at front.
that's the point. I am only a front bencher when I want to be a front bencher. Because
Okay.
classes like basic electronic engineering,
Mm-hmm.
I have no interest in electronics. So
Hmm.
I always used to do lead code questions in the back bench, or if it was an English lecture, So that's the
Okay.
point. Lead code questions
Mhm.
was fun to me. It was a game, so I was always
Hmm.
technically playing in the back with lead code
Okay.
questions.
Um, just to clarify, we are not promoting other students to play games during the session at the back. Okay. You can do anything productive if the session is not useful for you. Okay. I mean, that's what most of people do. Okay.
It was
Now,
good
most of good
if you,
people do. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah,
If you can solve lead code problems, wonderful. Okay, what if your teacher is going to see this particular video and ask you, Kevin, you used to do the same. Are you ready for your response for her? I
yeah,
think if you'll say you have this internship because of it, I mean, they will leave you. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. During my Java lab or my DSA lab, I used to never do those programs. I used to make sure that I'm the first one in the lab,
Mm-hmm.
finish all programs she's going to tell us to do in like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So
Mm-hmm.
basically, I have like 1 hour and 45 minutes just to do lead code. So that was
Okay.
like a golden opportunity in days where I'm
Mm-hmm.
doing dev, like those 5 days. I used to try to get as much as DSA possible during the
Mm-hmm.
days, during the time I'm at college.
Hmm. Okay.
So
And
yeah,
please finish.
that's it.
And during this exam period, obviously you have to also give exams. They are very important. And so, how you manage like the DSA thing during the exams? You used to skip totally, or have some like give half an hour or 1 hour still for take out the time out of the exam schedule and give it to DSA. How was it?
That's the thing. If you like something, I feel like you can get time for it through any hook or crook method. Like
Okay.
if you
Mm-hmm.
want to talk to someone, even during your exams, you'll still find a way to do it. So
Hmm.
exams were not really. I used to obviously not do it whole day, so I
Mm-hmm.
used to switch to do it studying whole day, and
Mm-hmm.
then when I felt like the okay, I've been studying for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Usually people use YouTube or Instagram for to relax themselves. I used to
Yeah.
go and solve the daily questions for a peace of mind.
Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, I
It
mean
was
that's
a
the
stress
answer
buster.
basically. Everybody have enough time. If they want something, like they like something, they'll give to that.
Yeah,
People
it's not like
usually scroll
if
through the
you have
Instagram.
external, like
Hmm.
during external, you're not going to study the whole day now. You'll obviously
Yeah.
have time to, for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
It depends
No.
on how you're using
Mm-hmm.
that.
Yeah. No, make a bold statement. If you like anything, you will be able to manage time by hook or crook. So, why it seems like you are devoting some time to someone else also, you are not single, to be honest. It feels like that.
Yeah, that's
If you
also a
want to know.
problem.
Hmm.
You also have to find someone who's also, equally passionate about your career, not for
Mm-hmm.
herself, but just for you to be a better person. So you have to find
Mm-hmm.
someone who's understanding of your love for DSA or for your future, you could say.
Okay. Oh, okay. So I randomly guessed like, okay, it turns out you're not single. Okay. That's fine. Okay, moving ahead. Okay, so this was like how you prepared. Now coming to development thing. Development is equally important. So how you manage the development? You mentioned you are interested in AIML. You are having course. I think you also did some internship in AIML.
Yes.
So how you manage that development thing?
For me, I knew that DSA would not always be enough. Doing too
Mm-hmm.
much of DSA would not be enough. Doing too much of dev would not get me where I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Because I knew that the thing with Google, especially, Google was my dream company since first sem. I don't know if
Okay.
you should say dream company, but yeah, I always, since Google was the first site I ever opened in a computer when I was 7 years old,
Okay.
the idea of working in Google
Hmm.
was just too much, like a dream.
Okay.
So I knew you needed dev and DSA equally. The
Mm-hmm.
thing about Google was you need dev to get into the interview as a
Mm-hmm.
tier 3 student, because I
Mm-hmm.
know that IITians don't need to do dev as much to get into the
Yeah.
interview. But
Exactly.
since I'm from MESR, MSI would not be just enough for impressing the recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
So I knew that dev is important for me to reach the interview. But once I'm
Mm-hmm.
in the interview, I knew that I'll need DSA also to crack the interview now.
Mm-hmm.
So I always made sure to give a lot of importance to dev. And there was also times where dev was like very important to me, since DSA was not getting me anywhere, I think in December.
Hmm.
So I put a little more interest in dev and started, pushing out projects, doing good git pull requests, reaching out to
Mm-hmm.
recruiters, making projects, applying for internships. And
Hmm.
then after I got my internship, it started balancing out again, because I realized since I have this internship, I'll have the interview chance. Once I get
Mm-hmm.
my interview chance, I cannot let my DSA fail me. So I used
Hmm.
to grind both equally now.
Okay, so like as you mentioned, development is going to take you to the interview phase if you are trying for off campus and you are from tier three. That is a very valid point because in here what happens is like multiple resumes are there, thousands of people, students are going to apply for the same role, and how your resume is going to stand out. So coming to resume point, like okay, DSA is important. If you have achievements in DSA, you are going to add them, but at the same time you need to have some good projects, and if you have some experience, that is like very good. And how you applied for the Google thing? Did you took the referral or it was like direct application to that particular role?
Oh yeah, for the referral, I had
Mm-hmm.
previously applied for the step intern with two
Mm-hmm.
referrals,
Okay.
and then I got rejected in January. So
Okay.
yeah, that was a really hard moment, because as I said before, Google was my dream company, and then
Mm-hmm.
but I also took it as a positive way that yeah, okay, now I'm rejected, but I
Mm-hmm.
have now for sure I have to make sure to make the next one count.
Hmm.
So I took that as motivation, built up the projects, built up my resume, and got four referrals this time and applied for SW
Okay.
intern.
So
And
you
then,
reached out to people who are working at Google, or you already know those few people? It was easy, or it took some efforts to get the referral?
yeah, two of them were already working at Google, was already connected with me in LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then I had also sent friend requests to almost 70 people,
Mm-hmm.
and two of them agreed to give me a referral from that. So total four.
Okay, so here one more point: when your referral is first of all important when you are applying to companies like Google. Okay, just it increases the chance of your resume being
Yeah,
like viewed. Okay, they are going to view your
I
resume
I just needed
because
someone to see my resume, not even accept it.
yeah, that increases the chance of that thing increases when you have a referral. And for referral, one way like LinkedIn is the best platform. You can connect with people who are currently working at Google and just randomly select the people who are working. And for best opinion of mine would be select someone who recently like past 2 3 years who got into Google because hire people who are having good experience, they rarely accept your request and all. So somebody who recently joined Google, they will be able to accept your request, and as well as they can give you referral also.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was okay. And once it was when you applied, okay, how many chance do you already know you are going to get a call from recruiter for that particular role, or you are still guessing, or you just applied and was not thinking about it? How was it?
Hmm. I wouldn't say I wasn't thinking about it,
Yeah.
because once you
Mhm.
apply to your dream company, you'll always be checking your mail.
Checking very frequently. Yeah.
Yeah, very frequently is the understatement. Because
Yeah.
I was refreshing my mail almost every hour.
Okay.
And then I still remember this vividly, that I applied on 15th June.
Mm-hmm.
18th June at least at 1 a.m. I got a mail. That was my
Okay.
first, not my first mail which I got shortlisted, but the
Mm-hmm.
first mail I actually saw it and I was like, oh, my interview is scheduled, because the other one was just skill test. So this was the
Hmm.
first time I found my interview scheduled. And then
Mm-hmm.
at 1 a.m., I was banging my sister's door trying to wake her up.
Okay.
And then
That's
I
like,
started I started screaming to her. I was like, I got selected for Google. I got selected for Google.
okay, so you already know before the interviews itself you're going to be selected. That's
No,
nice.
no, no, not at all. That last step intern did not give a good
Yeah.
confidence for me.
Okay, but yeah, this you're talking about June. You're doing practicing from last year, May or something. So
Yeah,
it's like almost an year. You are giving time to it consistently. You are practicing and all. So obviously, that confidence comes from practice.
practice.
Initially, when you will be starting with DSA, that confidence is not going to be there. But once you start solving problems, the confidence gradually increases. Okay. Now, what was your preparation thing? Oh yeah, you have been preparing for it like since the long time after like the rejection of step intern role, as you mentioned. But yeah, during this phase, once the interviews are confirmed, how you prepared like in those few days which were remaining for the interviews?
Yeah, my first talk, like the briefing, was on 18 June,
Mm-hmm.
and then I think I got 2 or 3 days just to prepare.
Okay, what was it like phone interview on 18 June?
No, no, it was the actual technical round. Okay, yeah, phone interview on 18th. Yeah, technical round
Yeah.
on 3 days later.
Okay, so what was asked in like technical, like phone interview? Yeah, telephonic round, whatever it was it. Phone
Telephonic
screening.
round was I was actually over prepared for that. Yeah,
Okay.
but they do reject you through the telephonic round also. I know some friends who got rejected.
Yeah, mostly people go through, but yeah, there are cases where they
Yeah.
reject from there also.
You can never take it too lightly. And
Yeah,
as
it's
I was
Google.
I, yeah, I was not going to let even the slightest chance
Yeah.
make get me rejected. So I prepared.
Mm-hmm.
I read through my resumes, you know, found out the tech stack, deeply understood the tech stack, and I
Mm-hmm.
also a better tip would be to have an understanding on why you use the tech stack. Like it was a long time ago since I made the project, so I had to jog back
Mm-hmm.
my memory on why this is better than that, why unit is
Yeah.
better than YOLO for object segmentation, something like
Yes.
that.
Yes. I mean, here
And
the
also,
point is, if
yeah,
you have created your project on your own, like many time people copy from web and all just because they have to show it in in their resume.
yeah,
So they don't know, but actually, who is building it, they know. Okay, why they choose this over the other thing. Okay, so if you have prepared the project on your own, you will be able to answer. That will be easy. Else, you'll mess up, I guess.
yeah. Even the experience part, they asked me
Mhm.
on what I did in my current company. So I told them all the 4 projects which I did, and I
Mm-hmm.
also explained the importance of my projects, my personal projects which I made, and the reason I did them. Because some people currently I'm seeing I got, oh yeah, obviously if when you post you got into Google, you'll get
Mm-hmm.
a ton of messages in LinkedIn. One
Yeah.
negative side I'm seeing right now in our age is that people are just doing projects just to get shortlisted.
Hmm.
Like yeah, you're doing CSE to solve something. That is what
Hmm.
your software engineers are here for.
Yes.
So my only advice for that would be just look around. As cliche as it sounds, just see what is going on around you. You should
Mm-hmm.
not create a solution and then look for people to solve it for. You should first find the
Hmm.
people who need the product you're making and then make the product. For example, I've always seen that farmers have having a lack of utility. So I've
Mm-hmm.
noticed that, and then I'm thinking, how can I help this? So then I made a
Hmm.
disease classification model, which tells you
Mm-hmm.
which disease your plant is having. So this
Okay.
reduces. So you don't need much knowledge. You don't need to be you don't need to search with proper English in Google. You just need to click a photo of your plant,
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that. Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, as you mentioned, just look around, you'll be able to find multiple problems which you can work on, and then you
especially in
can
the
start
product.
building the solution for that problem
Yeah,
instead of building up application and then okay finding which solution it is solving. sorry, which problem it is solving.
Yeah.
Okay, that's nice. Okay, now we were okay.
I think
So
telephone
before the
interrupted.
technical part, how you prepared? Like what you did in those 3 days?
It was a stressful 3 days because I was
Okay.
not. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
to me, my schedule was a bit too extreme. I would not suggest this. I would tell people to take it a bit lightly because
It's
I knew,
Google. I mean, it's the
yeah,
dream company of learning.
you can never be over
Mm-hmm.
prepared for Google.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did was I used to wake up 9 a.m. I had
Mm-hmm.
a this is a site called Exponent.
Mm-hmm.
I used to have mock interviews there. I used to have a
Yes.
This used to be for all 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
Morning, wake up 9 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
Have an interview at 10 a.m.
Mm-hmm.
till 12 a.m. The interview will be going. Have lunch
Okay.
at 12 a.m. and then at
Mm-hmm.
1 a.m. till 3 a.m. solve lead code questions.
Mm-hmm.
3 a.m. till 3 p.m. till 4 p.m. I used to have a team talk with my company. I used to try
Okay.
to I made sure that I don't waste a single second for doing DSA. So whatever internship work I had, I used to do it in that 1 hour as soon as possible. Submit
Mm-hmm.
it, continue with my DSA. And then
Hmm.
it's 4 p.m. now. 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. Continuously do previous year questions, virtual
Mm-hmm.
contests,
Mm-hmm.
previous important algorithms revising. And
Mm-hmm.
then at correct 7 o'clock till 7:30, I used to take a break.
Mm-hmm.
Then again, I used to do lead code contest at 8 to nine
Mm-hmm.
thirty, another contest, have lunch, another mock interview at 10 o'clock, and then
Mm-hmm.
I used to sleep watching Striver's solution questions because I had
Mm-hmm.
this funny thing that I thought when I'm sleeping and he's explaining questions, it can still go in my mind.
I don't know. I will not comment on that.
This is not experts verified, but this is Kevin verified. If you guys want to,
Kevin. Okay. Okay. Hmm.
this is
So
where
that
common
was stressful.
confidence.
Yeah. I mean, 9 to 12 onwards. Okay. Even while sleeping, you are having dreams about DSA problems.
But yeah, I did have DSA problems. I was almost solving a DSA problem in my dreams. Believe it or not.
Okay, so as I think in start I mentioned about Code Chef long challenge. So during
Yeah,
that phase, what used to happen is I used to think about the solution whole day. Sometimes it strikes when I'm sleeping, dimag mein, it's going around. If I
yeah,
found the
it's
solution at 3 a.m., I used to wake up and I used to try, okay, is it going to work or not? Okay,
maybe
so
next
I
time.
can relate. Yeah, it happens, and it's a Google. I mean, come on, you are shortlisted for it.
Yeah,
Interviews are there
I
in few
knew
days.
this
Mm-hmm.
was like a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Yeah,
If
you need to
yeah, if
treat it like that. Yeah.
yeah, you'll always
Hmm.
feel bad if you don't give it everything you've got.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So okay, so what was there? What you're thinking 1 hour before the interview, your first interview, first technical interview.
Oh yeah, it was stressful until the interview started. Like I
Yeah.
was thinking about a billion things till I clicked accept call. I
Okay.
I always have this thing that
Mm-hmm.
before any important like before my MSET exam, which was
Mm-hmm.
the almost the best competitive exam I wrote, I
Yes.
didn't revise anything. I woke up and
Okay.
I took a shower. I listened to the most positive, happy songs I could listen to, and
Mm-hmm.
I forced myself to be in a good mood.
Hmm.
I had breakfast. I did yoga for half an hour to calm myself down, and then I have this strategy of drinking coffee just half an hour before the interview, and
Does that
just
help? Like, is to remove that sleep or kind of thing?
yeah, it's to
Okay.
get the brain
Mm-hmm.
working. And then
Okay. Mm-hmm.
just before all the interviews, I do some question because I know I cannot mess it up. It's not so
Okay.
hard that it will keep me overthinking that, oh, what if I get this question? And it's not
Hmm.
something so easy that I'll not need any data structure whatsoever. So I find two some the
Okay.
best question to do just before the interview. to get the flow
Nice.
going.
Nice
That, oh
strategy.
yes, we can still type fast.
Hmm. So yeah, I think one more thing which Google is focus more on is while practicing for Google or even preparing for interviews, Google is one company which focuses on like how you are also writing the code. What's the quality of code you are writing? Like naming of your variables, naming of your functions, then how clean your code is, how readable your code is, how is your communication skills.
Yeah,
So did you practice for them also?
yeah. I kept a list of all important stuff that Google requires, which is code
Mm-hmm.
quality,
Mm-hmm.
confidence,
Mm-hmm.
clarity, problem
Mm.
solving, and
Yes.
making sure that you're in the same line with the interviewer.
Yeah. Both
So
are
to
on the
practice
same
all
page.
this, yeah,
Yeah.
I used to keep taking mock interviews. And
Mm-hmm.
if I'm solving a question also during that 3 days, I wasn't solving just the question. I was
Hmm.
solving as if I'm talking to an interviewer right now. Like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I'm given a hash map. I'm given a hash map. And
Hmm.
first, I'll always go for the brute force solution. And then
Hmm.
I'll keep moving forward like that.
Okay.
Naming
So.
convention, right? I forgot to talk about
Mm-hmm.
that. My first interview actually went a bit tedious just because of the poor naming convention. I was
Mm-hmm.
overthinking about the naming convention so much that I had this really long naming conventions,
Yeah.
connections with two people as a
Hmm.
variable name. So retyping that, and then the interviewer also pointed this out that why didn't you could have asked me if I
Mm-hmm.
took code quality and naming conventions very seriously.
Mm-hmm.
So, cause he told that some interviews generally don't, you know, care so
Mm-hmm.
much about the code quality and put more preference on the problem your solution you're given.
Hmm.
So it's so that's also a point on you have to ask the interviewer that which do you
Yes.
give more importance to.
Okay. Yeah, that's a, I mean, that's a good point. Initially, in the starting phase of the interview itself, before writing the code, you can ask the interviewer itself. He wants some code more readable or he's okay with the generalized code. Hmm. Okay, and how it all started? It started obviously with your introduction and all. So, how was the problem? Was it vague, like how we listen about the Google? It don't give you the direct everything from the problem statement. Sometimes some things are missing, like the constraint they will not tell you. So they are expecting you to ask about those things. Was it that? How was it?
Yeah, that's how Google does stuff. In the
Mm-hmm.
interviewer, I wasn't even asked. I was prepared with my "tell me about yourself" speech also, but
Okay.
we just got on the call, question
Mm-hmm.
directly.
Oh, okay.
He's like, get on the interviewer book. So yeah, it depends on the
Mm-hmm.
interviewer also, but yeah, you have to be ready for anything. I
Hmm.
was, yeah, it was very vague. I was just given one line, and
Hmm.
I had to build the entire question from this just one line.
Hmm.
I cannot reveal the
Okay.
exact question,
No, no.
but
Okay, that's
yeah,
fine. Okay, so you ask clarifying question or you build on your own and then started, okay, you are going in right direction or not.
yeah, I was given that one line. Then I kept on asking, okay, do
Mm-hmm.
you want it like this? What is the
Mm-hmm.
input? What's the
Mm-hmm.
output? I'm thinking of doing this. Will I be given
Mm-hmm.
anything else? So
Mm-hmm.
slowly, it is basically a asking game. You have to keep asking for him for
Yeah,
helping you
and
out.
based on the question, your question, they will reply back, and yeah, you will get the pieces. Like since you're, it's more like a problem statement puzzle thing. Everything is
Yeah,
scattered. Whichever piece you are going to ask for, you'll get that piece, and you'll have to arrange that into a formal problem statement, a complete problem statement. Okay, that's
it's,
nice.
it's even
So
somewhat fun also. Actually, the
yeah,
whole interview process was very fun. It was not
hmm,
stressful at all. I like the way I imagined it. It was completely 180 from that. It was more
okay,
like a journey with the
hmm,
interviewer, more than a one-on-one. Like you're trying
hmm,
to win. It's like he
hmm.
is your partner and he's trying to get you to the finish line.
Yeah, both of you, yeah, you have to treat him like that. The other person also want you to get selected, but there need to be some parameters which you need to focus on. Like if you
Yes.
are, you both, as you mentioned, both of you are trying to solve the same puzzle. So it was like that. Okay, so at the end, you are able to give the optimal solution within the time and able to code it also.
Yes. So yeah, it took a long time to code. He did give a
Mm-hmm.
few hints like, oh, why don't you, isn't recursion a more simpler way to solve this than iterative? So yeah,
Mm-hmm.
small tips like that. He will
Mm-hmm.
be giving you small tips, but he'll give it not directly. He didn't directly tell me that recursion is better. Use recursion.
Yeah,
You
he
have to
will
be
give some
open-minded and
points.
willing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Mm-hmm.
have to be willing to take the hints.
Yeah, and you need to catch up the points. If you're going in sometimes wrong direction, also they will guide you.
Yes.
They'll say something, so you need to catch that particular thing, okay, and analyze, okay, why he said that, and if so, you'll analyze, okay, can I apply this here? Am I doing something
Yeah.
wrong? Yeah.
Could be negative also if you don't take his hints.
Hmm. Yeah, that's
You need
that
to
is
be a
again
good.
good. And about space and time complexity, do you mention space and time complexity? Did he ask for it, or you mention on your own?
Yeah, I think for Google, I don't know other companies do this, but my interviewer put a lot of pressure on getting the TC and SE completely right. It was
Hmm.
almost as if the space and time complexity was a separate marking section. He
Hmm.
wanted it to be down to the point correct because mine was
Hmm.
not a very simple one to calculate. So he
Mm-hmm.
was like, okay, you have 10 minutes left. Make sure that you get the space and time complexity correct in just 10
Hmm.
minutes.
Hmm. Okay,
So yeah,
and the problem, don't say the problem, but what topic it was revolving around?
you could say binary search and combinations. What do you say?
Hmm.
It's
Okay.
not it's not
Hmm.
completely hard, but yeah, it's doable. Lead code medium hard between that range.
Hmm. Okay. And after it, like the interview was over, so when you get the call, okay, or before that, were you aware like how you performed? What score you gave to yourself? I did really well. I did okay. I did good. Not that exceptionally well. So yeah, were you satisfied? Obviously.
I wasn't satisfied completely because I felt the coding could have been a lot better. Like yeah,
Mm-hmm.
first interview it got on the nerves.
Mm-hmm.
It if you are doing from a scale like no high, strong no higher,
Mm-hmm.
leaning no higher, I
Mm-hmm.
would put myself as a just a higher, not a strong higher, but a just higher.
Okay. Okay. And when you got the call from recruiter after this particular interview for the next round.
I think I got it the very next day that,
Hmm.
and then it was not a mail that you're selected for the second round. It was a date for the second round which
Ah,
told me.
okay.
And
And how
then
many days were given this time?
same 2 days, I guess.
Hmm.
And then I
Again,
knew
like you
that
followed the same strategy for
yeah,
preparing, like whatever it is.
yeah.
Okay.
This time I had college also, so during the commute, my college is 1 hour away. So during the bus time also, I used to do DSA. Coming back, took a quick shower and just got straight to DSA. There was no time to relax because it was just 2 days. But then I
Hmm.
was confident that I was like, it will, it will go.
Hmm.
I just had a confidence that I will crack it.
Yeah, that's not overconfident. I would say that's confidence. I mean that positive thing. Okay, it's not over. Okay, you're confident because you're putting that much effort to it. You already have done a lot towards it.
It was
Okay.
not like I was
Hmm.
preparing for this for 1 or 2 months. I have been preparing this
Hmm.
for a whole year.
Hmm.
So I knew that I need a bit of luck. But in my opinion, my view, I see luck as like when I heard this great quote that luck is when preparation meets opportunity. So I knew that
Yeah.
this interview was the opportunity, and I have
Hmm.
done how much of preparation I could have. So
Hmm.
now it is just time for me to execute what I have prepared this whole time.
That's nice quote. Okay, and how did the second interview? Obviously, it went well. That's why you're selected. But yeah, you're using the same strategy. However, the interviewer very did he ask for introduction this time, or again straight to the problem statement?
Yeah, this time was a lot smoother, but
Mm-hmm.
the interviewer was less helpful, I would say. Like it's a second round. Yeah, so
Okay.
it was completely cold shoulder, this interview.
Hmm.
So she just gave me a question. Before that, she told
Mm-hmm.
me to introduce myself. She was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, great. This is your question. And she didn't speak much the whole interview. That was
Okay.
I
Hmm.
think that was a interviewer tactic, to be honest. It was not
Hmm.
that it was her personality. It was she was trying to put me on the edge. So
Hmm.
the whole interview went with her giving the least possible help as she could. And
Okay.
lucky for me, it was a question that when I saw the question only, I knew how to solve it. It
Hmm.
was a graph, and you could solve it with DP also. It was that
Mm-hmm.
type of question. So when I saw
Hmm.
the question only, I directly got it as a graph question. So then,
Mm-hmm.
lucky for me that it was one of my favorite topics. Or
Hmm.
else, if it was something like binary search, I felt like that interview could have gone a lot worse since there was no help coming from her side. And then
Okay. Uh-huh.
she didn't need to explain also anything. She just gave me the whole question. I
Hmm.
clarified how it went in the second round. But
Hmm.
the difference between first round and second round is second round she didn't actually have anything to say because
Hmm.
I jumped straight to the question. Brute force, she told fine,
Hmm.
that's correct. Optimize solution, good, that's correct. Code it
Hmm.
out, good, that's correct. She's
Hmm.
like, okay, this is your, and then she gave me a following question. And I was
Hmm.
like, okay, we can solve it like this, but it'll be
Hmm.
faster using union find. She's like, okay, that's correct. Code it out. I code it out. Good, that's correct. Interview was
Okay.
done.
Yeah, okay. So I would not say totally lucky here because graph is a topic which many people fear. So you practice so much that it became your favorite topic. So it all comes like, okay, you put that much effort.
It
Somebody
was
else,
actually the topic
yeah,
which I hated the most in this.
I am coming to that. So I forgot, like, while the practicing phase, which all topics like recursion, DP, trees, and graphs. These are the topics which people fear a bit. Okay, I
Yeah,
mean, because you cannot get grasp of them in one go, in first
it
go.
makes sense.
You
Yeah,
need to
it's not
put
easy to
some extra
visualize.
effort. So how
Yeah,
you tackle these topics? What was your strategy? How you practiced?
graph, to be honest, was a nightmare in the start. Our whole batch was scared of graphs.
Hmm.
Like just hearing a graph question, it was a maze because even building a graph was thinking of, oh, should I build an adjacency list? Should I just
Yeah.
use it as the question is given?
Mhm.
It was all a maze. But then
Hmm.
once you get it was all about getting the
Comprehension.
basics
Mhm.
down.
Hmm.
If you're good at recursion, you'll get your trees out. When your
Yes.
trees are out, you're thinking of two directions. Now you just have
Hmm.
to broaden your view from linked list one
Multiple
to
direction. Hmm.
trees two to graphs everywhere. So
Hmm.
once you just find out how to go everywhere, different ways to go
Mhm.
everywhere, DFS and BFS. Once you at least do, I would say 30, 15 DFS,
Mhm.
15 BFS, there's a billion graph traversals, I mean, graph algorithms you can study. But
Hmm.
with just BFS and DFS, it's
They
almost
solve like the majority,
it's all,
90% of the
yeah,
problems you require them. Yeah.
just extension of that. You just need to
Hmm.
know if you know this two basics perfectly, that's when
Hmm.
graphs actually stuck. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's all there is.
Like there are multiple graph problems, you'll be able to find the similarity. Okay, I'm doing the same traversal in everyone. Just find some changes I'm doing, and I'm getting the result for this problem. I'm getting the result for this problem. So once you start like connecting with the problems, so yeah, it becomes less scary and all, I would say.
Yes, it doesn't
It becomes
become
easy. I
easy.
mean, after one point.
Yeah, it doesn't become very easy.
No,
I
graph
I tell
cannot
my
become very easy.
friends,
Yeah.
I tell my friends that, oh yeah, lead code is not something you'll get perfect at the end. It's just that you
Mm-hmm.
cry a lot in the starting, then you just cry a little less after a few years. But you'll still keep crying no matter what.
Yeah, that's a nice quote. Okay. So at the end, I would say, okay. So during this phase, what all things helped you out? Okay, like how Suntech training was helpful for you, and any other resources which you followed, anything which helped you throughout your journey, you can tell us about that.
It was actually a lot of things, collection. It was
Yeah,
friends,
so take some
tutors,
time and tell about
content.
that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it all started with HackerRank. C
Mm-hmm.
language became perfect through HackerRank.
Hmm.
So
Best for
I did,
beginners. Like if somebody is
yeah,
getting started, we have C, C++, Python, Java modules there, and
it won't get
even
you
those.
anywhere, but it's like the
Hmm.
building is a stepping stone.
Yeah. Hmm.
HackerRank was very fun. It was really good in putting that solid base. It made
Mm-hmm.
me ready for DSA, but I never knew I was ready for DSA. Then
Hmm.
Suntech called me that, oh, you're
Mm-hmm.
selected for this PDSA batch. And then when I
Mm-hmm.
reached to the center, I find out that, oh, we're learning DSA. I knew that
Hmm.
DSA is very important, but I
Mm-hmm.
never really had the, proper structure.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, and I was actually supposed to fly back to Bahrain for that summer
Hmm.
vacation. But
Mm-hmm.
since I had this batch, I knew that this would keep me consistent. So I
Hmm.
had to skip out on going back home and,
Okay.
every morning
Mm-hmm.
come to Suntech for learning
Hmm.
DSA.
Hmm.
And they also gave a proper structured guideline over there. They gave a problem set after each day. They gave lab hours. It was
Mm-hmm.
all in a proper manner, which that whole month was like life changing, to be honest. I don't think I would have finished DSA as fast as if it was like a normal. If I was in Bahrain, I would definitely not done as
Hmm.
much, even not even half of how much I did in that one month. And
Hmm.
then it also it introduced me to all of the different people who I didn't know even existed in college, who are also equally
Hmm.
passionate. And then we all together, put a pact together that we are going to get
Yeah.
DSA.
A group
So
is
that was
required. Like when you're feeling low, others can motivate you. And looking at others also, there is this friendly competition which keeps you motivated. I need to solve more problems than them. I need to be ahead of them. Yeah.
why he's still
Hmm.
solving. Why did I stop?
Yeah.
I need to keep that heat map green.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
then that was the starting point. And then I told that I started putting dev a lot more preference. And
Hmm.
then I remember this September, no, I
Hmm.
think it was a month before September, August to the 2023, I was almost completely out of touch with DSA. I had
Hmm.
completely gone into dev. I
Hmm.
was pushing projects out every week to build
Hmm.
my resume up. And then Suntek's PDSA Advanced Batch 3 started. Because
Hmm.
I had that overconfidence as a newbie that, oh, because I hadn't seen the other hard questions. I was like, oh, I already know everything. I'm ready for an
Hmm.
interview. I'll just
Okay.
prepare the dev now.
Hmm.
Then sometimes DP batch came in which they taught dynamic programming.
Hmm.
That that put me in the ocean, and I was like, and then I felt the urge again, which I felt in May, to
Hmm.
that if you're actually feeling something is really hard, try to make that hard thing your strong suit.
Yeah.
What you're bad at, try to make it your positives. Then
Hmm.
that kept my that and this time the DSA, it I also was introduced to contests in December.
Hmm.
So then that was almost addictive, because when I first found out about contests, that was like, wow, these many
Hmm.
people are equally passionate and I want to be as good as all of them. Then this contest thing probably is the reason why till now it was that consistency has been for DSA.
Hmm.
And then there
Okay.
are other stuff like, I would say, Striver's SD
Hmm.
sheet. He made a series for almost all topics, especially dynamic
Hmm.
programming topic. That
Hmm.
was really good questions. And then I like his approach in which he solves the worst question, the brute force way, then better,
Hmm.
then the best. I feel like that is
Hmm.
the way to actually learn DSA. And
Yeah.
then that put me on the right track that, okay, when I find a hard solution, I'll find the brute force first. And then I'll
Hmm.
keep repeating myself while writing it out,
Optimism.
while
Yeah.
writing the solution
Hmm.
out. I'll be keep repeating this one line, that where am I wasting time by repeating tasks? I'll be
Hmm.
where am I wasting time? Where am I wasting time? Where am I wasting time? After I keep finding that out, then I'll find that, oh, instead of traversing the whole array, when I find that at middle, I find that the left part is of no use. I don't need to check anymore. So then I'll find, oh, this is binary search or dynamic
Hmm.
program. So like that. And except for Striver, yeah, lead code, code forces, the generic ones.
Hmm.
They all
Okay.
help me.
Hmm. Okay. And what is the minimum time you use to give to any problem? Or if you are unable to solve, do you move to next problem, or you don't skip to next problem until you solve a problem?
Yeah, I don't think I ever skipped this. I ever gave up on a problem. Even if I
Mm-hmm.
didn't find it, I always saw the solution. So
Mm-hmm.
I made sure to never, forget about a question. If
Hmm.
I'll keep a timer for at least 25 to half an hour. If I
Mm-hmm.
can't solve it, I'll check the topic, what this question
Hmm.
is. Then I'll find that topic, another five
Hmm.
minutes. Still not getting it, check discussion. Another discussion is very important. So
Hmm.
it's way better than checking your that solution directly because maybe you just need a little push, a little hint in
Hmm.
the right direction to get the whole solution.
Yeah.
So then I used to check discussion. This time I used to give 10 minutes. So after 45 minutes also, if you're not getting a solution, in my opinion, you'll never get the solution.
Hmm.
So if I don't understand the solution which I'm getting from LeetCode, I used to always go to YouTube and there's a site called
Mm-hmm.
LeetCode or Striver. I used to always check those two videos, and then if they didn't post either, I used to search some whichever solution was there on YouTube.
Okay. So yeah, this strategy you use, that's nice. Any ending note you want to share with people? Okay, we didn't talk about like sports. You how you stayed fit. You used to play outdoor games during this phase, or only you used to stay at home and just do DSA, DSA, DSA?
It was 50, not even 50. It was a 80-20 thing.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that I couldn't waste time for something which was not going to help me in my future, but
Mm-hmm.
in the sense of making money. But I knew that sports was equally important, so I used to always join clubs. I used to join my
Mm-hmm.
football team in my college. Every Sunday we used to have matches, or
Mm-hmm.
I used to join the league matches, and then I used to get a team allotted, and I used to play there Saturday, Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Because I used to do gym before doing lead code, but then now I couldn't have that much time, so I need to keep my fitness up one way or the other. So I went back
Mm-hmm.
to my favorite hobby, which was football, and then I
Hmm.
kept on playing every weekend, almost every weekend, with
Hmm.
running around.
You are
Or
playing now also in weekends.
yeah, now I'll probably do it more.
You're playing or not?
Yeah, I am playing more.
You should invite. I mean, I'll come. I miss football a lot. Okay. Yeah, that's all from my end also. And thanks a lot, Kevin, for joining and sharing your experience, your whole journey. It was really insightful. And we'll add your LinkedIn profile link also in description. If somebody have exclusive doubt from you, they can reach out to you. Okay. Thank you
Yeah,
for joining, Kevin. Thank you so much.
thank you, sir.